Doctor Who in the late 1970s is an interesting part of the show's history under Graham Williams. Did Douglas Adams kill the Daleks in Destiny of the Daleks? The last time I watched this story was 2 years ago for another video which you can watch on my channel. This time I'm going to be dissecting what may have happened to Terry Nation's last televised Dalek story and not just take it at face value as I have done before. Let's recap where we are in Doctor Who's timeline. Graham Williams took over as producer for season 15 in 1977 after the combined efforts of Philip Hinchcliffe and Robert Holmes had made Doctor Who too dark in the minds of certain viewers. Williams was tasked with creating a more lighter feel for the show, making it feel more light-hearted and, I guess, more family-friendly. However, there was one factor that changed everything. On the 27th of December in 1977, a Hollywood blockbuster would be released that would change everything. Not just the world, but the whole sci-fi genre itself. Of course, I'm talking about Star Wars. This led Williams to use humour throughout his time in Doctor Who, just to make the show, quote, more British, as Doctor Who's budget lacked in comparisons compared to the new competitions. By 1979, Douglas Adams had become script editor of Doctor Who, roughly around the same time as him writing Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. At this point, the humour and silliness of the show was at the forefront. Now, I say silliness because Douglas Adams is reported to have wanting the scripts more sillier. This wasn't to intentionally set up the show, but to critique its fundamentals of what makes Doctor Who, illustrating realism. However, I don't feel like this process is realised enough from script to screen in the majority of stories.
Come on, old girl.
This scene from the Horns of Nimon is as much evidence as you need.
That's very odd.
This was the type of light entertainment the show was going for under Williams and Adams. At the time, however, Doctor Who's viewing figures were hitting the 10 million mark. Doctor Who had become a self-critical show in a time where Britain was going through shortages and strikes. In context, the show fits the era it was made for. Audiences needed a lighter, more entertaining family show just to enjoy at the time. Taking all the context out for a second, which most of us tend to do now when watching old Who. When a show's at a point where the hero is outwitting their opponents or foes with humour and ease, plus with an actor like Tom Baker who commands any scene he's in anyway, he's a very strong presence, it just creates a dynamic where it's very, very difficult for audiences to take the threat or anything seriously. If the Doctor's joking around while defeating the Daleks, it just makes them feel a bit of a joke and undermines them completely. That's why the Daleks and indeed Davros seem so flat whenever they're on screen. Plus the props of the Daleks and indeed Davros' chair are falling apart. Now, if this was integrated into the story as part of the plot, I reckon it could work. I mean, the damage is so noticeable, it's sort of got to be addressed, right? However, this isn't the case. Terry Nation's script was heavily changed by Douglas Adams to accommodate the new style posed by the Williams era. This was to be Nation's 11th serial written for the programme. However, the show had moved on from the late 60s and the early 70s. The ideas between Nation's scripts and Adams' script editor just doesn't work. The ideas just don't fit together. Now, I don't know what people think about Davros in this story, but I personally think he shouldn't have been in it at all. It's interesting how this is one of the only stories that have a returning monster, other than the Sontarans, in the Williams era. It just proves that this iteration of the show under Graham Williams, works at its best when the writer doesn't have to accommodate for any returning characters or monsters. When the Doctor and the story, the whole script, the whole process is free to go and explore completely new things. And this is proven by Destiny of the Daleks alone. If you take a look at the story surrounding Destiny of the Daleks, you can see that the format works. The self-critical approach to the last story from the previous season, the Armageddon Factor, plays as a strength. And the second story from season 17, The City of Death, is one of the wittiest Doctor Who stories ever. They work within the context of the show and help Williams' Who distinguish itself from the more resourced opposition at the time. So let's answer my question. Did Douglas Adams kill the Daleks in Destiny of the Daleks? Short answer, yes. You can see why the Daleks haven't appeared in the show for 5 years. They just don't work in this period of Doctor Who. And to be honest, I feel like they don't really fit during the 1980s as well. Not to say that I don't like the stories they appear in, but I just feel like the show has moved on, all because of Graham Williams and what he'd done with Doctor Who, to the point where the Daleks just don't fit the concept of the show anymore. I mean, that's why Doctor Who went on for 26 years. And that's why it came back in 2005 and is now still going strong to this day. Because it changed, it evolved, and this is all down to Graham Williams and his template for what he did during his time as producer on the show. It just proves that change is good. And without his change, Doctor Who wouldn't be around today. If you enjoyed what you saw here today, feel free to subscribe for similar content. If there was a particular video or section of the video you liked, let me know by liking or commenting on the video. Your likes and comments could influence the next topic I talk about. Thanks for watching.